Well, hey, I'm Jason. I'm the admissions manager here at Neumont University. Thanks for joining us for this live event. Today we have Ben Fletcher with us, and he will be speaking on all things IS. And so hopefully you have some good questions coming in. We've got some questions already prepared, and we've got about 35 minutes or so, and it should be a good time. Having said that, let me go ahead and introduce you to Ben Fletcher. Ben, he is our director of IS, and I'll let him kind of introduce himself and what he does here, and then we can jump right into some questions if that's okay.
Yeah.
Ben, take it away.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Like you said, my name's Ben Fletcher. I've been here at Neumont University for almost 5 years. I began the information systems program here at Neumont University and kind of built it up from scratch. I've been in information systems for a really long time. I've got to be going on 25 years at this point. I've worked in the public sector, the private sector, federal government, a little bit of state government, and then owned my own business for a little while, worked for many private companies. So I've been doing kind of network administration and systems administration for quite a long time.
So, and where are you from, by the way?
So born in Ohio, but really grew up here in Utah. So yeah, mostly the Salt Lake City area.
Okay. And how did you come to be at Neumont University? What led you here?
That was kind of interesting. I was working on a federal contract for the Department of Defense, and the contract was coming to an end, and I had some choices to make. I could move back east, or I could jump on another contract, and Neumont actually found me from a really old resume that had been posted online. I don't even know where it was, Monster or something. Gave me a call and said, hey, we're starting this information systems program, and we're looking for somebody to chair it, to head it up, to build all the classes, build the curriculum, and turn it into something that employers really want. And so I was like, this sounds like kind of a fun opportunity. It was different. I'd never done anything like that before. I'd never really taught before, other than teaching, within the environment that I work. But
that's cool.
It sounded like a really fun opportunity, so I was like, let's give it a shot, So that's kind of how I ended up here.
And the rest is history.
And the rest is history.
Right on. Well, so let's talk a little bit about the information degree, and I should correct myself. I had mentioned you're the director, but you're actually the chair.
Yeah,
for the
chair of the
information
information
systems
degree.
And interestingly enough, you also handle a lot of the IT that we have in the building, right, for ourselves and students as well. So having that kind of background, when a student looks at this particular degree, what kind of student would be a good fit for this degree, or who would this degree, I guess, be a better fit for?
Yeah,
for a technical student, right?
Honestly, any student would be a great fit for this degree. I worry more about the type of student that you are than your technical background. But honestly, if you're curious, if you are the kind of person who tinkers with things, if you take stuff apart, if you work on a car and you like to fix that I think is a good indicator. If you're kind of a hands-on kind of person, you like to fix things, turn screwdrivers, tear your mom's toaster apart, right, to figure out how it works, even if it doesn't go back together. Right. We'll teach you how to get it back together.
So you might be a good information systems guy and not even know it.
Yeah. Honestly, even if you've never turned on a computer, but you're the kind of person that loves to tinker and loves to kind of just learn how things work. If you get on the internet and you're just like, how does that work? And you're clicking around in Google just trying to learn how an engine works or learn how your air conditioning at home works. You'd probably be a great fit for information systems.
Right on. That's cool. And we have a lot of students that ask us those questions in admissions. Maybe they don't have a lot of experience, formal experience in any kind of IT work or IS work, but they like it, right? They enjoy that kind of stuff. And one of the questions we get a lot too is, do I have to be good at math? Is math something that they have to do well at or be good at?
So you don't have to be great at math. You do need to be able to get through math. We have great instructors here that will help get you through math, great tutors, things like that. But you don't have to be phenomenal at math. We're not, the information systems world isn't what I call the deep, heavy, artificial intelligence, algorithm-based, type computer science. We're really the people that make their jobs possible. Because without the servers and the computers, those algorithm guys aren't going anywhere either, right? It doesn't matter how well they think If they don't have the computers to program on, it's kind of useless to them.
Right.
So we're the guys that keep all of that up and running. We keep the infrastructure up and running, the networking, the computers, the desktops, the laptops, all that kind of stuff. And then we make it work together, right? The idea is to try and make technology disappear so that people can get their work done.
It's there, but kind of behind the scenes, right? Right on. So what was it that first got you interested in infotech? Because I know that there is a delineation between, going into the programming field versus maybe more of the traditional IT field, and then, like you said, having that background, that behind the scenes presence. But for you, what was it that kind of brought you over to that side, as opposed to more of the programming side?
Yeah, I don't know. I've always been kind of a hands-on problem solver. I really like to figure out how things work. I remember my dad, when I was very young, buying our first, PC computer way back in the day, and the very first command I ran on it, I was trying to format a floppy disk, really old disks, right? I was trying to format a floppy disk, which was drive A, and I happened to be on drive C, which was the main operating system. So I typed in format, right? Format the drive. And I hit enter, and I wiped out his whole computer. And this was like 2 days after he'd bought it.
Nice.
Just wiped the whole computer out. And so that kind of started me down the road of, oh crap, I better fix this before Dad finds out that I just wiped out his brand new computer.
Maybe the other direction's better.
Grab the DOS disks and start loading them in, and trying to figure out how to install that stuff. And so just kind of that breaking things and fixing it attitude is just something that permeated my life. And so because of that, I think it naturally led me down the field of information systems. Not that I don't love computer science. I mean, I code. We program in information systems. We script a lot. We automate tons of stuff. Yeah. PowerShell and Python are huge in our world. But it's more the hands-on discovery that I really enjoy.
Awesome, man. And I'm sure that kind of carries over into teaching, right? Because like you said, you had a lot of experience in industry, but now you teach. And so why teaching? What was it that kind of brought you over here to maybe plant some roots down in the teaching sector as opposed to the industry?
It was kind of the same thing. When Neumont approached me, they had a rough outline of an information systems program, but they didn't really have an information systems program. And so it was just that same problem-solving mindset, I guess, of how do we build a program that, at the time, I had been a hiring manager. I'd hired multiple, network admins and system admins, and there was always things missing when you hire somebody, right? You can never hire a perfect candidate. But one of the things that I thought was, what if I could produce a graduate that I would hire? Yeah. Right? Somebody that I would right out of the gate say, that guy's amazing. I'm going to pay him a bunch of money because I know he can do what I need him to do. And so that was the problem I set out to solve. I said, I want to build an information systems program so that my graduates are the kind of graduates that companies say, that's the guy I want. That's the guy I want to hire. And I think that's effectively what we've done.
I like it. That's actually a great way to think about that. We have a lot of teachers here that have industry experience. And I think that point of view of how can we create a student that I would hire.
Right.
That's awesome, man. That's great. And so obviously there's the teaching component of what you do, but tell us about some of the other responsibilities that you have as the chair and as the director of IT.
Yeah. So as the chair, my job is to direct the degree, right? My job is to make sure that I maintain the integrity of the degree. So that means people who shouldn't graduate don't graduate, right? Because we have a certain standard that we uphold. But at the same time, it's to maintain the viability and the integrity of the degree. So I meet with local businesses. I constantly will reach out to recruiters and say, okay, what are you hiring for, right? What skills are you looking for? We'll go and meet with CEOs and CIOs of companies and say, what do you need? What can't you find in the market? You hear news stories all the time about companies saying, well, there's not enough skilled labor, right? We can't find the right skilled labor. And my goal is to fix that. My goal is to say, no, that's not true anymore. I'm producing the right skilled labor for you. Right. Tell me what you need, and we'll make sure that is in the information systems program so that when our students graduate, we're turning out the right skilled labor. And then additionally, more recently, I've become the Director of Information Technology here at the school. We went through some changes, and it kind of got dropped in my lap, so to say. And so we've been making some changes that has really improved, I think, the school. We're upgrading the networks and the wireless systems to be faster, right? We're making sure that the internet runs better for the students. We're doing our best to try and use the things that we teach in class, best business practices, and actually apply them at the school as well. So the school's on a really strong technological footing as well.
I like that, man. I think that's one of the cool things that I've experienced since I've been here too, is that it seems like there's always constant improvement, right? Being up to date, being up to speed, not only where the students are concerned, but also where the faculty and staff is concerned, and having that carry over into how we teach and how we support, and of course how you guys support students. It's pretty amazing. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
So when we look at incoming freshmen, students who are preparing to get into college, preparing to get into this kind of field, what would you say are some of the things they can do to prepare themselves? Maybe some courses or things like that where they can kind of start building those blocks of, hey, I'm going to get into this field in a year or two. What can they do now to do that?
Yeah, my favorite is, and I visit every day, news.google.com, and I click on the technology section. And I read the articles, right? And you're going to get a lot of stuff about the latest games. You're going to get a lot of stuff about, but you're also going to get the latest phones, which, mobile workforces are huge. And so being able to support that and manage those mobile workforces is a job that is in high demand right now.
Yeah.
So you're going to learn about the latest phones. You're going to learn about the latest server architecture. Intel just announced some new stuff. AMD just announced some new stuff. So pretty much every month somebody's announcing something new, right? So start to learn about the hardware and the systems that are being announced, and cloud-based platforms that are out there, Amazon and Azure. You can log on to Azure or Amazon and get free credit. You can log on as a prospective student and say, hey, I'm going to go to Neumont University and I just want to play. Amazon has an entirely free tier they call EC2. You can go set up your own little Linux servers or Windows servers, cool. and feel free to break them. That's what I love. I want to see students breaking stuff, because when you break it, then you have to fix it, and that's where learning happens.
Nice.
And if you don't have access to those types of things, go fix your car, right? Go fix your mom's toaster. Go learn something,
take
right?
It apart,
take something apart, figure out how it works. I'm not just the IT guy. I did the front bearings on my wife's car the other day because that's the kind of stuff I like to do. So go get hands-on with something and be curious and learn. And that curiosity is really, if you come to school with that curiosity in place, man, we can just go crazy.
So that's actually why you were saying that. That's actually a great point, because obviously, taking apart a toaster is not the same as network, system network or
sure.
computer hardware, but it sounds like it definitely teaches your brain how to think and how to process those kinds of things.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Awesome. And so along those lines, we do hear instructors talking about you've got to think like a programmer, or you've got to use computational thinking. Maybe building upon what we just said, what does that mean? What can a student do to help them start thinking about problem solving analytically?
Yeah, so the way we think in the world of computer science, and really it's the world of engineering, right, is you want to take a very big problem and you want to break it down into small pieces. So you want to try and say, what is the smallest problem I can find out of this big problem, and solve it. And once I have that solved, I can kind of put it aside, know that it's good, and move on to the next small problem, and then move it aside. You really need to pay attention to detail, right? Especially in information systems and taking apart your mom's toaster, if you don't know where all the screws go, and you don't know where all the wires go, and in the world of computer science, if you don't know what every variable does, and what every method does, it causes problems, right? You start to lose track of things. So learning to break things down and paying attention to those little details is a big thing. It goes to fixing your car, right? You got to make sure you get all the bolts back so the tire doesn't fall off.
You put it back together and you have extra bolts.
Exactly. Yeah, you may not want to drive it. So yeah, and then learning how to do research, right? When my wife was driving her car and the bearings went out, I don't know how to replace bearings on a car, so I jumped online. I Googled it. Jumped on YouTube, found 3 or 4 videos. They weren't a perfect match, but I could kind of fill in the blanks by making some educated guesses on way things work. And so I did a bunch of research. I tried to find all the material I could that would tell me how to fix that. Same thing in computer science. Every time I run up against a networking problem or a systems administration problem, we're jumping on Google, right? We're doing that very first Google search, finding the top few answers, clicking on them, and then that leads us to the next click and the next click and the next click, and you're reading articles and you're reading, blogs and how-tos and all kinds of stuff to try and figure out what the problem is. And then you try it. Honestly, sometimes it's a trial and error.
Yeah.
You give it a try, you say, oh, that didn't work. You find some kind of metric to determine why that didn't work, right? You need to have some way to measure what you tried. And so you try it, oh, that didn't work. I look at my results, yeah, that's not what I wanted. Try something else, right? Roll that back and try something else. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to get in there and try stuff. Things can be rebuilt. Things can be fixed. You just got to get your hands dirty and get in there and give it a try.
I like it, man. Well, we talk a lot about that because of the hands-on nature of the program. That ability to learn how to learn, right? One thing that we find common here is if a student has a question or if somebody has a question, sometimes the first words out of an instructor's mouth are, "That's a great question. Have you Googled that?" Right? Or have you tried to find the answer yourself?
Yeah.
And maybe if you find the wrong answer, or if it takes you down some path, we can always revisit that. But teaching a student how to learn for themselves, I think sets them up on that path after graduation to continue that learning process. Right?
Absolutely.
We know technology is not going to stop evolving and is going to be different than it is now when these students graduate. So that ability to keep up with that, keep learning, I think is critical, right?
Absolutely, yeah. It's probably the most critical skill that we teach here at Neumont. We can't teach every technology on the planet. It's impossible. They come out with new technologies every day, plus all the old ones, right? It would be impossible. So our goal is to teach you what's current, what's relevant, what most employers are going to be interested in, and then teach you how to learn.
Right.
Teach you how to pick up what your employer's using that you've never seen before, and in 3 days you're an expert, right?
Yeah.
Yep, you've got that system in hand, and you're up and running with it.
Fly away.
Yeah, fly away. So yeah, it's one of those things where learning to learn is probably the most important skill that even the employers ask us for.
Well, let's talk a little bit about that. So when these students are preparing to do that, what are some good ways, maybe cheap resources, good places for a freshman to get started learning more about infotech?
Yeah, like I said, news.google.com, click on the technology section is one of my favorite. But jumping on YouTube, right? Stack Overflow is a great one. There's so many great resources, so many magazines out there. You've got Wired and PC Mag and all these magazines that are constantly monitoring the tech field and kind of talking about what's new. And then honestly, if you have the resources at home, grab your home computer and reload the operating system, or install a virtual machine. Probably don't reload your main operating system. You don't want to break your mom's computer, but install a virtual machine and go get Linux. It's free. Yeah. You can download CentOS for free, and there are tons of guides online, right? If you just search CentOS Beginner's Guide, #1 hit, right? You'll have the guides there. Start learning that system. Start understanding the operating system, the file system, the bash shell, as well as the GUIs, the X Windows and the gnomes and the KDEs of the world. So start figuring out how those things work. Figure out how the hardware devices interface with the operating system and how the operating system controls each of the devices in a computer. And that's all free. You can do that on really a very slow old computer would be able to handle that without any problems. Linux is very lightweight. So,
awesome.
Yeah.
So some good stuff. These are things that you can do over the summer as
Absolutely.
preparing for class, maybe even as you're preparing for your senior year. And so juniors becoming seniors, great time to dip your toes in this now. And then of course your incoming freshman class, if you haven't had a chance to do some of these things, do it. Check it out, try it, and then when you get here for orientation, you may be a little frustrated, but you'll be that much farther ahead.
Don't be afraid to fail.
Right?
Yeah, don't be afraid to fail.
Good point.
Right? Don't be afraid to break stuff. My favorite students are the ones that show up to my office. I broke it. I absolutely broke it, And so then we have this whole discussion about, okay, what did you do? And, we start walking through it. But it's a good thing.
Learning opportunity.
Yeah, learning opportunity. You're going to be praised for breaking stuff around here, not scolded for it. Right. So, maybe go gentle on your mom's toaster, but feel free to, break Linux over and over again and then reload it and try again.
Sooner or later you'll get it.
Yeah, that is absolutely great.
So, I mean, that sounds like, obviously determination, grit's a great skill set, but if you had to narrow it down to maybe one or two skill sets that are just the most important, what should a student bring to the table to succeed? What would you say they are when they get here?
So for sure, curiosity. That's my number one. The more curious you are, the more you want to break things apart and figure out how they work, the better you become as a student, because you just want to learn. That's what that curiosity is that want to learn. And then honestly, kind of a stick-to-itiveness. I don't know the best word for that, but kind of grit, being able to take on something and stick with it and finish it, even though you run into problems and you get frustrated and it's not working the way you want. Being able to stick with that is so critically important. If you run into a roadblock and you just throw your hands up, you're never going to fix it and you're never going to learn. But if you run into a roadblock and you go, oh man, and then you work on it and then you go find other resources and you talk to friends and you talk to, family and you talk to professors and you talk, and you just stick with it. I'll take a student who will stick with something over a smart student any day.
Right.
Because a student that'll stick with it will learn. They'll eventually learn. They will succeed. Right. Sometimes the real smart students get in there and they've never failed, they've never had any problems, and when they hit their first roadblock, it's like, what do I do? Challenge. Oh my gosh, what do I do? So yeah, if you're the kind of person that can just put your head down and go to work, God, I love those kind of guys.
That's actually a good point. In missions, we talk to a lot of prospective students about that exactly, right? Mm-hmm. We can teach you what you need to know when you get here. We offer the courses, the programs are designed specifically to teach you things and to help you learn and progress. But it's difficult to teach a student work ethic. Mm-hmm. It's difficult to teach a student time management or prioritization, right? Mm-hmm. These soft skill sets. A lot of times they have to bring that to the table. And I'm assuming it's the same in IT, right? And IS.
Absolutely.
Management, soft skills, all these kind of things in addition to the hard skills that are so important, right?
Oh, if you don't have 8 or 10 things you're working on at a time, you're not working on stuff in the IT. Yeah, you're falling behind in the IT industry. No, I mean, you're going to have 4 or 5, sometimes even 6 classes in a quarter. If you can't manage your time, if you can't figure out when to put the game down and go do your homework, or spend several hours, doing research and figuring out why something isn't working, it's going to be really difficult for you. And that's a skill we develop over time, right? I mean, we start them out a little bit slowly. We try not to kill you in your first few quarters, right? And then we slowly try to ramp that up and make it a little more challenging, add more things to your plate at the same time, and help you try to work through that. But yeah, those soft skills, that ability to time manage and the ability to put down what you really want to do to focus on what needs to be done, right? That's a skill that is maturity. That's really just growing up and becoming an adult, and that's a skill that really is critical to develop.
Right. I mean, that's we have the opportunity to talk to parents too, and a lot of times our students are coming right out of high school, mm-hmm. And they're going from young adult to working professional in 3 years, right? And you can't do that by sitting on your butt for 3 years. Right. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of effort, but it's fun and it's rewarding. What are some strategies? I mean, you've been in classes. Obviously, you've taught and maybe currently teaching. But what are some strategies that you've seen students employ, that you've had your students employ, that help them learn new material? So as they're as they're processing homework, what are some of the strategies that you would recommend?
Yeah, so reading the material that this instructor gives you is probably number one.
That's a good one.
It gets really frustrating when I have students who don't read the material and give them do what I ask them to do. Finding friends, I think, is so critically important, right? When you very first get here, find the people that are interested in IS or CS or game dev, whatever your degree choice is. And make friends with them, right? Go hang out on the weekends, and you'll find that naturally you talk about things in your field. As instructors, we go to lunch every day, and you'd think that it'd be a great time for us to break away and not have to talk about work, but all we talk about is work, right? We're constantly saying, how do you fix this problem, or how do we help students learn better, or how do we engage them more? So you just find that if you surround yourself with those types of people, you will naturally gravitate toward talking about and learning about those technologies. So yeah, when you get here, get that good group of friends. Really find that group of friends. And you're all going to be new. You're all going to be kind of weird and not know who's who, and that's okay, right? But technology is the one bridge. It's the bridge that builds on everybody here at Neumont. So even if you don't know who they are, and you walk up and you say, hey, did you just see Intel's new release of their latest 18-core processor for desktops? Instantly, you've got something to talk about. Instantly, you start talking and you start making friends.
I was going to say that's probably one of the things that makes Neumont University unique, or certainly different than a lot of schools. Is we have students from all across the country that come here, right?
Yeah.
I think at some point we actually had all 50 states represented. I know we've got several represented now from East Coast, West Coast, you name it.
Yeah.
But that's the common denominator, right?
Yeah.
They all love tech, and that's why they're here. And so, like Ben said, I mean, you don't have to necessarily know people here, but if you walk up and say, hey, and mention something, chances they'll go, oh yeah, and then all of a sudden, bam, friends. Right?
Yeah,
and
you've got something to talk about.
Yeah, good support group, maintain people who have the same goals that you do as far as graduating, right? And good study habits, good time management, things like that. That really will help.
Yeah.
Not only from a teacher's perspective, but from an admission standpoint, we see that a lot.
Yeah.
Along those lines, are you available outside class to help out students if they need it?
Constantly. Every instructor here has office hours. Every instructor here, our goal is to help you graduate, right? So that is all we are here to try and do, is to teach you, help you learn, and help you graduate. So yeah, we all have office hours, and honestly, if you shoot me an email, let's get together and we'll set up an appointment to meet. Every instructor here is absolutely available to the students every day, 5 days a week, Monday through Friday. And honestly, I answer questions. The students email me all weekend, and I still get back with them. So, yeah, I mean, we're all available.
So don't be afraid to ask for help.
No, absolutely. Show up to my office. I want to know who you are. You're in my degree, right? We already have something in common. I want to know who you are. I want to know your name. I want you to know who I am, and let's build on that common, love of technology.
Very good. Well, so we've talked a lot about what it takes for a successful IT person here at school, but what about the industry? When they make that transition from school to industry to their field, what should they focus on to become successful in their field as they're making that move?
Yeah, a lot of it's the soft skills. A lot of it's communication, talking to your boss, making sure that he knows what you're doing, and a lot of it is the lifelong learner. Being the first guy to learn the new technology that the company's implementing, you're going to be a rock star, right? If you're at home at night researching the latest switches or routers or server 2016, which is coming up, or whatever, you're going to be a rock star in your company. Right. So if you can maintain that curiosity and that love of learning, and you take the skills, the base that we give you here at school, and you just jettison it, you continue to learn, you're going to be just off to a rock star start, and you'll move up in your company incredibly fast.
Perfect. That's great. I mean, so we talk to students about that quite a bit too. Focusing on that maturity level, the ability to always look ahead and do new things. But you had mentioned something. That ability to communicate, right?
Mm-hmm.
And to play well with others.
Yeah. That's
huge. I mean, if you're a team player and really contributing and having that ability to effectively communicate, you'll be fine.
Yeah.
You'll do great.
Absolutely.
So we've only got maybe a minute or two left, but before we go, talk about maybe anything else that you as an instructor, as a teacher, as a director, what would you kind of say? Hey, this is what you absolutely need to know before you get here, right? If you're coming here, here's my piece of advice.
Yeah. God, I don't know if there's anything you absolutely need to know, but I would say come with an open mind. Come with a, hey, I'm starting a new chapter in my life, and come with the ability to say it's okay for me to be uncomfortable a little bit, right? I'm going to be away from home. I'm not going to get mom's cooking. It's okay for me to struggle, and it's okay to ask questions, and it's okay to be wrong, right? I'm wrong all the time, and my classes call me out on it. They're very good at saying, no, you did not, you said that wrong, and it happens, right? You get talking and you say something incorrect. It's okay, we laugh about it, we move on, and that's okay. Yeah. Be okay to fail, be okay to be wrong, and then come get ready to just jump in with both feet, make a ton of cool new friends, meet a ton of cool new people, and succeed. I mean, our outcomes speak for themselves. Our students are amazing. What they do is amazing. Every company that we talk to says your students are unbelievable. They're the best we hire in the industry. So, be prepared to continue that legacy, because you've got a lot that went before you that were amazing, and you'll do the same.
Perfect. Well, I'll tell you, I mean, it's been a pleasure talking with you, Ben. I know Ben and I talk to each other quite a bit, but it's nice to be in this format and kind of talk about this, get the incoming class prepared. I will say, if you're watching this and you're planning on being here with us this fall, make sure you RSVP for orientation. We can't wait to see you, but we want to make sure that we have space for you and your family. Take care of some of these deadlines coming up, and contact your admissions officer if you need some help. They'll be happy to walk you through. And again, it's been a pleasure, Ben. Thanks, man.
Thanks a lot.
Appreciate it. Take care, guys.
Take care.
All right. Good.
Thanks a lot.
You bet.